Hey y'all, it's me, Mo from Mo in the Deep End, a mom of six jumping deep into the internet and doing learning all the tech things, doing all the hard learning how to tech things. Today I wanted to talk about Delphi. And they had a pretty significant document dump from the court, about 288 pages. I have just reams of notes and things I need to ask David from MLS Law about because he is an actual, in fact, lawyer. Whereas I am just pre-law. But there's some things that a lot of people are not covering yet, or at least I don't think they I've seen them covering a lot, and there are some very serious allegations of prison abuse being perpetrated against Richard Allen, and y'all, here's the deal. I even made this. Look, it's a tangent, I get it. If the man is guilty, I want him to be proven guilty in a fair legal system. I don't want a vigilante justice system because what if one of us, any of us, gets into this kind of situation too? I mean, there are just so many scary things that can happen if let me see if I can make him bigger. There we go. Wait, let me see if I can no, that's not gonna work either. Welcome to Technical Difficulties by Mo in the Deep End. Here we go. We'll just work with that for right now because it's more important that we get this information out there than, I look purtiful. Here we go. We'll stick with this. You can see it. Um, sorry, Mr. Mo is telling me when the feral children will come back, and I'm telling him to stay gone as long as he feels that he needs to. Um, again, tangent engaged. But this is a handwritten uh, letter from an inmate in the Westville Control Unit with Richard Allen. Now, again, this is coming from a convict person, so, or an alleged convict person. So take it with a grain of salt. But again, if this is actually happening, and the state seems to be doing a lot of motions to make it to where the defense counsel cannot go in and see the conditions that Richard Allen is put in. There are reams upon reams of court motions that I would like to go over with David. But I did want to at least make a video about this because um, our Attorney General, Todd Rokita, not related to rackets, which is kind of upsetting. He has taken up an investigation upon this. So I really look, if he is the dirtball that hurt these girls, I want him, legally done what we do with people that are, terrible people. But this could be us. If the government is this big and we are torturing people, if that is not the system of justice that I signed up for, that I want to be a part of, that I want co-signed by being a citizen of this country. So, that being said, if he is guilty, if he's found guilty, all the guilties, then, send him to prison, lock the key, send him in with Daryl Brooks, okay? Joel Guy Jr. and Daryl Brooks in a cell, videotape it live for our commentary. And it says, "Dear Clerk of Courts, this is in April 11th, 2023. I am an inmate at Westville Correctional Facility in the same unit that Richard Allen is being housed in, awaiting trial. Richard Allen is being abused and mistreated along with other inmates at the Westville Control Unit, restrictive housing, and there are corrupt officers and ranking officers calling Richard Allen a kid killer, teasing him that he has a visit from his family. Phone is ringing on his uh, I guess he has a tablet. Inmate in cell A1 102 Logan Osborne, A2 207 inmate Riley, inmate cell A2 20 or 204, and A2 205 threatening to kill Richard Allen and telling him to kill himself. These inmates have made these comments in front of the warden, John Gallipew, ranking officers, and officers. The staff been recorded on camera has recorded on camera these inmates making these threats and suggestions to kill himself and has done nothing to stop it. I have proof and evidence of assaults by ranking officers and officers on inmates' abuse and mistreatment in grievance and the governor's office of Omnibusman Bureau that have been mishandled and covered up because the Indiana Department of Correction is allowed to police itself with their Office of Investigations and Intelligence. I recently sent this letter to the U.S. Department of Justice from Indiana State Representative Dr. Vernon G. Smith and from the Senate Judiciary Committee concerning the DOJ and FBI mishandling complaints on the Indiana Department of Correction and their facilities. On March 21, 2023, while in the same unit as Richard Allen, I attempted suicide and spent 3 days in the hospital due to staff and officer abuse and mistreatment. On April 9, 2022, I attempted suicide and spent 4 days in the hospital and intensive care unit. The IDOC, or their mental health provider, has provided me no mental health treatment. I correspond with New York Times investigative reporter and her team at the University of School of Law and have made them aware of the assaults, abuse, and mistreatment going on here at Westfield Correctional Facility and their other IDOC facilities. Please forward this letter to Judge in Richard Allen's case and to his attorneys because I have wrote to the organizations mentioned to expose the assaults, abuse, and mistreatments. Respectfully submitted, Robert P. Burton, and I'm not going to dox him, though he somewhat doxes himself. Now, again, this is what we call, we may have an unreliable narrator, if you will, with this person. And I am not saying that I fully believe this man because, I kind of don't. But I do wonder. Now we go to the sorry, I am trying to be all of the awesomes, and it turns out I am not all of the awesomes. If you if you are not shocked and in awe that I am having technical difficulties, welcome to the site. You're new here, and we appreciate you joining. But this led to there are legitimately 283 pages of this, and a lot of it is in lawyer, which is not my native tongue, if you will. But this led to the defense sending an emergency modification order. And let me present. And I do want to talk to David about this, but there are a lot of allegations against the um, Westfield Correctional Facility where Richard Allen is. So we will go into that and hopefully see a lot of the document dump is back and forth between the state and the defense, asking for discovery. But from what I can gather as a pre-law, pre-body language person, this is where a lot of the issues have started. And this was the first emergency motion to modify safekeeping. So the state is contending that they are keeping Mr. Allen locked down because he is a threat in general population, as you can obviously imagine, as the alleged suspect in this very high notoriety crime. He, may not be Gen Pop's favorite person. But This is what we will go. Emergency motion to modify safekeeping order comes now the defendant, Richard M. Allen, by and through his attorney, Bradley A. Rozzi, I guess, respectfully requests that the court modify the court order safekeeping order entered on November 3rd, 2022 in this case. In support of said motion, Attorney Rozzi states as follows. 1. On or about October 28th, 2022, Mr. Allen was charged with 2 counts of murder. Mr. Allen's bond was set at the amount of $20 million cash. Like, why even give bond? Because seriously, why not just say, no, sir, you are screwed. Stay in jail. $20 million. Sure. Okay, Jan. I don't get that. That's where we give the appearance that we're doing things by the books, but we just don't give two rats balls about it. On November 3rd, 2022, prior to counsel being assigned to Mr. Allen, yes, he was in fact charged and arrested and had several things forward without getting his public defender. This is all sorts of, again, if he's guilty, let him, go to jail for the rest of his life, but let's make our system work correctly. Or if you're listening to the Theodore Edgecombe, correct. The Carroll County Sheriff, via a formal motion, filed his request by the Sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana, to transfer inmate from custody of the sheriff to custody of the Indiana Department of Corrections for safekeeping. 3. On the same day, November 3rd, 2022, the Honorable Benjamin A. Diner, Judge of Carroll County Court, executed a court order granting the sheriff's request and further ordered the Carroll County Sheriff to transfer Mr. Allen to a facility within the Department of Corrections as designated by the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections suitable for Mr. Allen's safekeeping. All decisions regarding Mr. Allen's detention circumstances were made prior to the counsel being assigned to Mr. Allen to speak on his behalf. No formal hearing regarding the sheriff's safekeeping request had been conducted as of the filing of this motion. So they basically made all of these motions where Mr. Allen could not speak for himself. Mr. Allen is currently incarcerated at the Westfield Correctional Facility where he's been detained since November 2022. 5. The Westfield Correctional Facility is a maximum security prison operated by the Indiana Department of Corrections, wherein thousands of individuals convicted of the most serious crimes such as murder, rape, robbery, childness, are confined as a result of their convictions. To the best of counsel's knowledge, Westfield Correctional Facility does not routinely house offenders awaiting trial who are presumed innocent, as the presumption should be with Mr. Allen. 6. It is noteworthy that Mr. Allen has been continuously assigned to a separate maximum security segregation unit within the Westfield Correctional Facility, wherein the most dangerous offenders are held. Counsel has investigated and confirmed with prison officials that said unit routinely houses individuals serving sentences of life without parole and others who have committed some of the most heinous crime known to our society or have been transferred to this unit after committing further crimes within the Department of Corrections. Counsel was informed by prison employees that said employees are not aware of any other circumstances wherein a human facing trial under circumstances such as these has been housed in said facility. Finally, counsel has discovered that Westfield Correctional Facility has been at the center of much attention in the recent past in matters regarding unequal and inhumane treatment of offenders. So let me see if I can. And it says, footnote 1, inmate kept in solitary will get $400K from states, lawyers say the Indiana Star. I will learn English one day. But so this particular correctional Institute has all sorts of the shenanigans going on. 7. The requirement of equal protection dictates, as appellates here agree, that the pretrial detainees not be treated less favorably than convicted persons unless the difference in treatment is justified by a legitimate government interest. Okay, so basically, the court or the state has to prove that there is a reason why they put him instead of in the county jail segregation, I'm guessing, why they transferred him to full on like max prisonness. 8. Counsel recently visited the prison and was denied his request to inspect his client's cell block and living conditions. Despite this, counsel has reason to believe that Mr. Allen is being required to endure the following conditions over the course of his 5-month plus detainment at the facility. A. Mr. Allen has been entombed in a cell as small as 6 feet in width by 10 feet in length, a space no larger than a dog kennel. B. Mr. Allen is sleeping on a pad on a concrete floor. C. Mr. Allen is afforded showers only 1 to 2 times a week. Mr. Allen is required to wear the same clothes, including underwear, for days and days on end, all of which are soiled, stained, tattered, and torn. E. Mr. Allen, who is constitutionally innocent man, maintains factual innocence as well as not being afforded any opportunity to visit his wife or other family members during the last 5 months of incarceration, which during this time he's been subjected to conditions akin to those of a prisoner of war. For or F. Mr. Allen is only allowed an electronic tablet through which he can make calls to his family members, all of which are monitored by prison officials, with the cost of the phone calls being borne by Rick and his family. G. Mr. Allen is routinely supervised by other inmates, companions, referred to within the confines of the prison, who watch the outside of his cell door on a daily basis. Mr. Allen is afforded very little, if any, recreational time outside of his cold concrete metal quarters. Attorneys for Mr. Allen delivered nearly 1,000 pages of police reports to Mr. Allen on Friday, March 24, 2023, with the intention of seeking their client's cooperation in his own defense. As of Monday, April 3rd, 2023, said information has yet to be provided to Mr. Allen. 9. The location of Mr. Allen's detention is such that he's isolated geographically, not only from his family, but also from his attorneys, who are required to travel for hours to speak with him in confidence regarding his case. Said visits also require making logistical arrangements with prison officials in advance visits too. The little footnote, counsel would note that Westfield prison officials have been more than accommodating and courteous to counsel during visits with Mr. Allen, other than the recent denial of our request to visit Allen's cell, despite the harsh and unreasonable conditions under which Mr. Allen is currently being detained. 10. It is difficult, if not impossible, for Mr. Allen's attorneys to share confidential and sensitive information with Mr. Allen due to the logistical challenge associated with Mr. Allen's segregation and isolation, to the extent that Mr. Allen is being deprived of his constitutional right to assist in his defense. In contrast, the state of Indiana, through its prosecutorial and law enforcement divisions, sit in the comfort of their own command center, preparing and planning to prosecute Mr. Allen to the full extent of the law. 11. In sum, Mr. Allen is being treated far less favorably than a convicted person, many of which are housed in less secure areas of the prison, are offered programming, therapy, and mental health services, routine recreation, and contact visits with family and friends. 12. To further complicate matters, Mr. Allen has suffered from depression dating back to his early years. Upon his incarceration, Mr. Allen was presumably evaluated and medicated by prison medical staff. Up until a visit with Mr. Allen on April 4th, 2023, counsel for Mr. Allen found him to be polite, communicative with great eye contact, generally responsive to our questions, and exhibiting a good sense of humor on occasion, in spite of his false arrest and circumstances. However, Mr. Allen's deteriorating physical condition has been observed by counsel dating back to the beginning of the new year. As recently as April 24th, 2023, Attorney Andrew Baldwin met with Mr. Allen with optimistic news about the direction of the case, and Mr. Allen was inquisitive about the information and thankful for the information and optimistic about the information. Okay, that was a me sentence. That was a lot of like, oh, we got like 180 words we got to finish on this 1,000 word. It was like if the judge in the Young Melly case was like, okay, well, like, okay, 10,000 pages? Right, we're gonna make a lot of wordy sentences. Only 10 days later, April 3rd. Okay, I think they mean May, because that doesn't make sense, but we'll go with it. They're lawyers. Time travel is possible. Attorneys for Mr. Allen observed a deep decline in Mr. Allen's demeanor, ability to communicate, and ability to comprehend, and ability to assist in his defense. Simply put, this version of Richard Allen was very different version than the counsel for Mr. Allen had interacted with over the past 5 months. Mr. Allen appeared to be suffering from various psychotic symptoms, which counsel would describe as schizophrenic and delusional. Counsel further believes that in our April 4th, 2023 interaction, Mr. Allen seems to be suffering from memory loss and is demonstrating an overall inability to communicate rationally with counsel and family member. Counsel experienced these symptoms firsthand upon visiting Mr. Allen on Monday, April 4th, 2023. Listen, again, we're going to go here. These are the same kind of conditions that they are keeping Julian Assange in. And if you are a big free speech person, you realize the sort of psychological torture that is, you know, happening when you have someone in solitary confinement. You take away their creativity. Look, prison's not supposed to be fun. As far as, he's in a cell and all of this, that's not confusing to me. The part where he's being treated guilty when we are supposed to, for all intents and purposes, think he's innocent. Again, if you are new here and you are jumping in right now in this video, if guilty, fry like bacon, just all the bad things. But if we are subjecting an innocent person to this, if we are going to uphold our ideals, then it needs to be for the person that we find the most scummy. We need to use our justice system as fairly as we would on Darrell Brooks and, Kyle Rittenhouse. It needs to be an equal playing field. That's the legal system that I thought that we had in this country. Now I'm slowly learning that it's not really, but ideally, I would like that. Even for a person who, if he did it, did this, but right now he is presumed innocent. And I will show you photos. 13. Mr. Allen's physical condition is deteriorating rapidly. Attached Exhibit A is a photo of Mr. Allen taken by counsel at the correctional facility on April 4th, 2023. Said photo reflects the significant toll of his current incarceration on his physical person and, by extension, his mental capacity. By contrast, see Exhibit B, which reflects his condition a year or two prior to his incarceration. The conditions under which Mr. Allen has been forced to endure are akin to that of prisoner of war. 14. The test determining constitutional treatment of a pretrial detainees alleged to deprive them of liberty without due process of the law is whether those conditions amount to punishment of the detainee. There are a lot of legal cases. Here, Mr. Allen is being punished to the full extent of the law. The conditions he's currently enduring have been thrust upon him without any judicial analysis of the need for such deprivation of his liberty. Further, counsel is unaware of any facts outside those generally alleged in the sheriff's safekeeping petition, which support the need to detain Mr. Allen in what could be casually referred to as death row. 15. Approximately 2 months prior to filing this petition, Attorney Rozzi was able to secure a more traditional bedding space in Case County Jail, a newly erected modern jail facility with the most advanced security measures located directly across the street from Attorney Rozzi's office and only approximately 20 miles away from the Carroll County Courthouse. Said modification of Mr. Allen's incarceration would result in more humane living environment in which Mr. Allen would be afforded immediate access to his attorneys and, more importantly, would allow Mr. Allen to have regular contact with his family, i.e., this detention circumstance would afford Mr. Allen due process of law. Under these circumstances, Mr. Allen would be treated like other inmates awaiting trial in the criminal justice system, as opposed to being punished based only on the merits of untested charging information, and a probable cause affidavit. 16. The process of facilitating Mr. Allen's removal from Westville Correctional Facility, Mr. Attorney Rozzi communicated with prosecutor Nicholas McLeland, who articulated that he had no objection to the modification of Mr. Allen's detention circumstances to a facility closer to Carroll County. 17. Attorney Rozzi was recently informed that the Carroll County Sheriff Department declined Attorney Rozzi's request to have Mr. Allen removed from the harsh conditions under which he is currently detained to a more traditional county jail near Mr. Allen's attorney and family. Mr. Allen asserts that denial is a deliberate attempt to impose conditions upon him that are intended to frustrate his purpose in defending against the charged allegations and create a hardship on him which could drive any human to a mental breakdown. Said approach to his pre-trial detention is a direct infringement on his Sixth Amendment right under the U.S. Constitution. 18. From a practical standpoint, it is worth noting the raw volume of discovery offered up by the state of Indiana in this case. It's overwhelming. For example, there exists nearly 3,000 pages of law enforcement reports that need to be examined in this case. In addition, there exist thousands of hours of surveillance videos and video interviews of potential suspects, witnesses, and other interested parties. The discovery suggests that law enforcement authorities have processed over 31,000 tips during the course of the investigation, all of which must be reviewed by the defense. Reasonable access to Mr. Allen is necessary as he is needed with these to assist with the process of reviewing discovery. His current detention situation does not provide convenience. 19. As a further practical matter, both co-counsel for Mr. Allen are having to drive hours away from their respective law offices in order to talk with Mr. Allen, and the time spent on the road is much more costly for the Carroll County taxpayers than housing Mr. Allen in Cass County, where everyone, except the Carroll County Sheriff, is on board with Mr. Allen being housed during the pendency of this case. And 20. Attorney Rozzi believes that an emergency exists and the time is of the essence based on the dramatic change in Mr. Allen's condition, including his change in demeanor, change in appearance, change of overall mental health status, and respectfully requests that the Honorable Court modify the safekeeping order and that Richard Allen be transported and housed at Cass County Jail or somewhere nearer to his families and lawyers, and to do so without hearing, or in the alternative, to conduct a hearing as soon as possible before Mr. Allen is placed in further jeopardy due to his current placement. It is also so that Mr. Allen can assist his lawyers in addressing Mr. Allen's mental health concerns as well as allowing Mr. Allen to participate in the preparation of his defense. For all other just and prompt relief in premises. Let me pull up the picture because it's quite stark. It let me see where I have that. I have all these things written down, but, Okay. Share screen. One day I will be a professional with an editor. So this is the, exhibit A or well, exhibit B. So this is him several years, prior to being incarcerated, and this is what they were looking at, when they saw him and he was displaying bizarre behavior, depression, other things. So, guys, here's the deal. Like I said, if a bajillion and 12 times already in this video, if he is, in fact, the person that took these 2 little girls' lives, then I want him punished with the law. I want the law to lead. I do not want to be party as a citizen of Indiana, as a, believer in the ideals of our justice system. I do not want to co-sign on this kind of behavior. Look, I joke about putting Daryl Brooks in like a plexiglass, chat, controlled booth, but that's torture. I don't wanna co-sign that. I want our legal system to be touched with mercy, because Lord knows I have done some dumb stuff in my life, and people have shown me mercy when they didn't have to. Yeah, I know, again, tangent engaged, but this is the first video, and I am shocked by some of the things that I'm reading and some of the things that aren't being covered. And maybe I see this more as an issue now because I am seeing the sort of shenanigans that some state prosecutors will pull. So I'm not as, pro state, like he's super de duper guilty. Um, at first glance, like I was when I first started covering cases and, just watching them. But this is really disturbing to me. This man has been housed with criminals with, going against convention. And I will go into what the state says. The state says, well, he's dangerous and all this stuff. If we don't like it for Julian Assange, we have to hold the same sort of, intellectual honesty and principles for this man, regardless of if we can prove he is presumed innocent right now. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But I will leave you guys. We will be having many more videos about this. There are 288 pages, many of them in legalese. So I will have to make cards and all this stuff to kind of explain stuff and hopefully have David on at some point to really explain all of the law and internety stuff. So please like and subscribe, do all the YouTube things, and I will see y'all later. Okay? Have a great day.